Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell, How Mormon Brainwashing Works, Part 2, or LDS Church Brainwashing, whatever I put as the title that has, can't see the minutes left. So in the church, there are a number of brainwashing tactics to control the masses of the church, which the church is not very effective on. They could do a lot better, but the reason why they don't is because they make plenty of money without having any Mormons now. The tithing scandal, for example, is just collecting interest. They don't have to keep adding to it. And so the amount of interest on $100 billion is more than enough to compensate for the loss of active membership. But the tactics that are used, having been born and raised in the church myself, going on 50 years, you start with primary, singing primary songs. Those primary songs are designed to get stuck in your memory, so that when you're not in primary, you'll get those thoughts in your head. Jesus wants me for a sunbeam to shine, and you remember those songs long after primary and during the week, and etc., is depending on the songs that the primary uses. In this ward, under the former bishop that booted me out of his ward because I was researching Hebrew and Egyptian. Only the president of the church can do that. Get out! Why do you bother? And thus I am, and suing the church and winning, just with a delay, which is causing me to do these videos. But I'm not sure if it was church-wide or if it was just this bishop who was forcing the primary presidents to do his will, which could be the case, knowing Bishop Hammond as I did. They were experimenting with new songs, especially one that Mayor Ron Bigelow, who's in our ward, wrote himself, or was it? I think it was him. Well, I don't know who was it that originated the song. Somebody in the ward, I think, but or maybe it was Hatch. No, his is a different one, but they use his too. But I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, they wanted to do new songs for the primary kids. They didn't want to do the classics that we all grew up on. And so those songs get stuck in your head. One of the new songs that was never sung as a primary kid, because when I first heard it was when I moved here and saw what was going on, but Faith is Knowing. Oh my God. This is how you control the masses. One of the tactics is through music. Yes, even worldly music. I mean, how many of you think that you're a material girl? If you don't know the song, you're most likely a millennial. But people can be swayed by the precepts presented in songs and movies, as I talked about previously. And so, yeah, the church is putting out a whole bunch of false doctrine in our primary. Our children, or grandchildren, for some of us, are being brainwashed in false principles, false doctrines, religiously speaking. If you're not familiar with this primary song, it's faith is knowing the sun will shine. And that just has wrong written all over it. We do not know the sun is shining until we see the sun shining. And until then, it ain't happening. And so that's a false doctrine that they're pushing on the children, because when you apply it in real life, chaos ensues. So, okay, I just published the first part, and so I'm taking a detour here in my conversation. My second coming of the Mormon Christ has only 58 views, and one person doesn't like it. Mormon doesn't like their own discussion of the Mormon Christ? He must have watched the whole video before putting that thumbs down, which is unusual for Mormons to do a whole video watching in order to identify that I'm still being an LDS critic. But that's the Mormon Christ, guys. It's second coming of the LDS Mormon Christ, Messiah, in parentheses, post-farewell. Yeah, that's all scriptures, Mormons. All scriptures, Mormons. Except for the first two video segments that I put in, which you would have seen before, such as in LDS Mormon prophets are true prophets of God. Again, LDS critic. But very, very curious that somebody doesn't like that. And only one person liked it, my token person. But Farewell 2 or 3, LDS Mormon Church Crime is Crime, is almost at 100, with 7 likes at 100%. So very interesting what people like and what they don't like, what they're curious on and find through searching. Because analytics tells me that the majority of you who come here are typing in the search engine for what my videos pop up as, and you're my age, plus or minus 5 years. And you're men, too. Not as many women come to my site, but the few women that do come, the majority of them are making comments on my videos. So that's curious, too. Alright, let's get back to brainwashing, shall we? Let me exit out of here, so I can totally focus. So yeah, Mormons. If you're unfamiliar, then where are you? Why aren't you listening to the news? Because it's in Arizona news, it's in national news, it's in Idaho news, it's in Hawaii news, it's in Utah news. This is huge. Mormons, Lori Vallow and Chad Dingbat. Yeah, she hired her brother to kill her husband. And then she kidnapped her kids, but they're nowhere to be found. Because she went and married this afterlife psychopath from Idaho. She moved up from Arizona to Idaho, in Rexburg, Idaho. Oh my God. Murder, mayhem, and Mormonism. But yeah, she got brainwashed in a cult weird thing that this other guy was involved with, because he thought he was special because he died and came back to life, and so now he's preaching his gospel of the afterlife and how it's real and that's the way it is and nobody else can ever know the truth. Only him. And she believes him, and now she believes she's a goddess, which Mormons Yeah, that's the whole temple ritual process to become a god and goddess. A king and a queen, high priest and high priestess. Even though Nelson took away high priesthood from men. And so men only have it in title only. They do not have the authority to act as high priests. And all Mormons are clueless that this was done, and are trying to figure out some rational reasoning that it's God's will. Clueless to the fact that no elder will ever become a high priest now. So that's part of the con job that dichotomous brainwashing does, is that you are not only able to infiltrate music, the hymns as well, I believe in Christ versus I know my Savior lives. Which one is it, Mormons? You can only have one. You either believe in Jesus Christ or you know He lives. If you know He lives, you don't believe in Jesus Christ anymore because your faith is now dormant. Remember that passage? Where did that come from? Oh yeah, Alma. And then there's the brother of Jared seeing the Spirit Jesus with his hand sticking through the veil. And so, yeah, he has faith no longer. Mormons don't catch that. They don't recognize, hey, wait a minute. So I can't just read, ponder, and pray, and whatever feeling or thought or opinion I want to have isn't true? Exactly. And then they get up and fast and testimony meeting, which was last Sunday, not yesterday, but Sunday before. Super Bowl fast and testimony meeting. Mormons all over the world got up and lied, bore false witness over the Rameumptom pulpit. And if you don't know the Rameumptom, shame on you, Mormons. Oh my God. It's like the church just has strayed so far from the Book of Mormon that they don't even care that they're doing all the bad examples in it. All the bad examples. Every single one. That's what's so frustrating for me, is that Mormons don't see it, and they don't believe me because I'm an LDS critic now. They refuse to believe it. They are so far gone in their brainwashing. That's the effective danger of brainwashing, is that the Book of Mormon, talks about the Great and Abominable Church. Mormons, you know of the Great and Abominable Church. And you're acting like Republicans. Well, if it doesn't specifically say that the church after Joseph Smith is murdered will be this church, that therefore it's not that church. And you just throw your hands up and you go, oh my God. I'm in La La Land. And, but yeah, I mean, the Great and Abominable Church, they were filthy rich. Lavish buildings. Lavish clothing. But the people suffered in poverty. They neglected the poor. The Great and Abominable Church neglected the poor. Churches are supposed to give charity, but they neglect the poor. That's what the Great and Abominable Church did. What is the Mormon Church doing? Oh, but Oakes was interviewed by the Deseret News Travis in 2016 when he said that the church on an annual basis gives around $40 million per year. That's a lot of money. It is for one person. How many poor people are in Utah? How many poor people are in the United States? How many poor people are in the world? Oops, 40 million isn't so big after all. And how much money does the church make? Well, with the tithing scandal, it's hundreds of billions of dollars. Because the tithing was just one area where they're making 100 billion. So, do the percentage math, Mormons. You graduated from high school with high honors. Demonstrate your knowledge of and earn your degree. So, yes, for those of you who are not capable of doing math, 0.000, and depending on how many hundreds of billions, which could be in the trillions, some number after that. That's how much they give in charity per year. Nothing. And so when Nelson talked about the $2 billion from LDS charities, that's how much they reported when it was first brought out. They got $2 billion almost instantly when they started the organization. He was still using the old reporting. So again, $2 billion, if you've got the church makes $2 trillion, that's not even 10%. So again, the church is not being charitable. They're purposely neglecting the poor. And so this is how far gone Mormons are. That they cannot see that they are being lied to, that they are being deceived. And the church came out in the gospel topic essays saying, hey, we've lied and deceived Mormons about church history and Joseph's ability to translate, and that Brigham Young was a racist, and Mormons still carry on. Oh, this is God's true church, and God leads it, and it's just mortal weakness. We're only human, born to make mistakes. I cheated on you and got you AIDS from the woman I slept with. There's a difference between mortal weakness and criminal behavior. And Mormons are so far gone in their brainwashing that they can't see that. Even those who leave the church can't see that they've been brainwashed. Fox 13 News Utah, I can't remember the reporter's name, he does his 3 questions segment. A week or so ago, he did John Dehlin. And John Dehlin said, hey, I might consider going back to the church. They're not likely to let me in, but I might consider it with a few changes. He got brainwashed, and he can't see it. He had to sign a non-disclosure agreement with his excommunication, and he still thinks the church is good, has good stuff in it. No, it doesn't. No. Like I've told you, the primary songs are corrupted, the hymns are corrupted, even the people who claim to be good are corrupted. It's all based on the dichotomy and non-dichotomy spectrum categorization, where people create the category boxes and they then are told to be as the category, and they can't be any other way. And if they are some other way, they're wrong. And that's the brainwashing, is that Mormons believe the lie that they are a category and that they can't be any other way, because they'll be denied exaltation in the highest degree of the celestial kingdom, they'll be denied membership in the church, whatever the threat, Mormons fall for it. So alrighty, that's the end of part 2.